few moments later.
And now a word brought to you specially from our sponsor. I would like to return to the classics, perhaps greatest classic in all the world of comedy. World of comedy.
World of comedy. World of comedy.
The way Americans are now. They're always willing to trade away a little of their freedom in exchange for the feeling, the illusion of security. What we have now is a completely neurotic population obsessed with security and safety, and crime and drugs and cleanliness and hygiene and germs. There's another thing, the fear of germs. Where did the sudden fear of germs come from in this country? Have you noticed this? The media constantly doing stories about all the latest infections. Salmonella, E. coli, hantavirus, bird flu, now they have West Nile fever. And Americans panic easily, so now everybody's running around scrubbing this and spraying that and overcooking their food and repeatedly washing their hands, trying to avoid all contact with germs. It's ridiculous, and it goes to ridiculous lengths. In prisons, and this is the way Americans are now, they're always willing to trade away a little of their freedom in exchange for the feeling, illusion of security. What we have now is a completely neurotic population obsessed with security and safety, and crime and drugs and cleanliness and hygiene and germs. There's another thing, the fear of germs. Where did this sudden fear of germs come from in this country? Have you noticed this? The media constantly doing stories about all the latest infections. Salmonella, E. coli, hantavirus, bird flu, now they have West Nile fever. And Americans panic easily, so now everybody's running around scrubbing this and spraying that and overcooking their food and repeatedly washing their hands, trying to avoid all contact with germs. It's ridiculous, and it goes to ridiculous lengths. In prisons, and this is true, in prisons, before they give you a lethal injection, they swab your arm with alcohol. It's true. Well, they don't want you to get an infection. And you can see their point. Wouldn't want some guy to go to hell and be sick. It would take a lot of the sport out of the whole execution. Fear of germs. What a bunch of pussies. You can't even get a decent hamburger anymore. They cook the shit out of everything now because everybody's afraid of food poisoning. Hey, where's your sense of adventure? Take a fucking chance. You know how many people die from food poisoning in this country every year? 9,000, that's all. It's a minor risk. Take a fucking chance. Bunch of goddamn pussies. Besides, what do you think you have an immune system for? It's for killing germs. But it needs practice. It needs germs to practice on. So if you kill all the germs around you and live a completely sterile life, then when germs do come along, you're not going to be prepared. And never mind ordinary germs. What are you going to do when some super virus comes along that turns your vital organs into liquid shit? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to get sick, you're going to die, and you're going to deserve it because you're fucking weak and you got a fucking weak immune system. Now, I'm going to tell you a true story about immunization. When I was a little boy in New York City in the 1940s, we swam in the Hudson River, and it was filled with raw sewage. Okay? We swam in raw sewage. You know, to cool off. And at that time, the big fear was polio. Thousands of kids died from polio every year. But you know something? In my neighborhood, no one ever got polio. No one, ever. You know why? 'Cause we swam in raw sewage. It strengthened our immune systems. The polio never had a prayer. We were tempered in raw shit. So personally, I never take any special precautions against germs. I don't shy away from people who sneeze and cough. I don't wipe off the telephone. I don't cover the toilet seat. And if I drop food on the floor, I pick it up and eat it. I eat it, even if I'm at a sidewalk cafe. In Calcutta, the poor section, on New Year's morning during a soccer riot. And you know something? In spite of all of that so-called risky behavior, I never get infections, folks. I just don't get them. I don't get colds, I don't get flu, I don't get food poisoning, and I don't get headaches or upset stomachs. And you know why? Because I got a good, strong immune system, and it gets a lot of practice. My immune system is equipped with the biological equivalent of fully automatic military assault rifles with night vision and laser scopes. And we have recently acquired phosphorus grenades, cluster bombs, and anti-personnel fragmentation mines. So, when my white blood cells are on patrol, reconnoitering my bloodstream, seeking out strangers and other undesirables, if they see any suspicious-looking germs of any kind, they don't fuck around. They whip out the weapons, wax the motherfucker, and deposit the unlucky fellow directly into my colon. Directly into my colon. There's no nonsense. There's no Miranda warning. There's none of that 3 strikes and you're out shit. First offense, bam, into the colon you go. And speaking of my colon, I want you to know I don't automatically wash my hands every time I go to the bathroom. Can you deal with that? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. You know when I wash my hands? When I shit on them. That's the only time. And you know how often that happens? Tops. 2-3 times a week. Tops. Maybe a little more frequently over the holidays. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you something else, my well-scrubbed friends. You don't always need a shower every day. Did you know that? It's overkill. Unless you work out, or work outdoors, or for some reason come in intimate contact with huge amounts of filth and garbage every day, you don't always need a shower. All you really need to do is to wash the 4 key areas: armpits, asshole, crotch, and teeth. Got that? The hooker's bath. Armpits, asshole, crotch, and teeth. In fact, you can save yourself a whole lot of time if you simply use the same brush on all 4 areas.
His message. Peace, y'all. You know what I mean? Blasting off from the planet called the Real HD Show. It's your man, the vet. It's my man riding shotgun. Trying to get my signals. That's crazy, bro.
It's over there. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's over there.
No.
That there.
Okay.
We'll get it together. I can walk and chew gum at the same time. You gotta believe that. Anyway, we off to it's the Real HD Show. Welcome to Prime Time with a Purpose. I'm your man, the Vic. My man to the side of me riding shotgun is no other than Sincere G in the place to be. Say what's up to the people, bro.
Peace to the kings, the queens, the princes, and the princesses.
Yeah, man, we got a hell of a show for y'all, man. We are prepared. We are ready to give y'all what y'all need as we proceed. You know what I mean? We got some really, really dope information to share with you, man. We got some tools, we got some fun, and you might learn something before it's done. Nah.
Good time.
If you know what that is, hit the link below. Let us know what that is, man. You will earn 20 HD bucks that you can use for playing your own music, you know, advertising your own gig economy, businesses that you got going out there. Anything you need, anything you want along the lines of advertising and marketing, we will help you with right here on the Real HD Show. If you can answer that question that I just
First
posed,
correct answer.
First correct answer, you know what I mean? Hit the link, hit the Cash App. It's Power to the People News, man. Let's jump right in it, man. Without further ado, it's Power to the People News. Your voice, your victory. You know what I mean? Wait, what just happened? This just happened. Whoa, witch hunt, politics, Republicans versus Democrats. You know what I mean? Executive government versus the other branches of the government. Fox News versus MSNBC. Anti-hokey versus the hokey pokey. You know what I mean? do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around, you better pay attention. You know what I mean? Is it fair to public liberties or nah? What do you think, bro? Are we living in a witch hunt right now?
Definitely.
Is that what we're living in right now? Are we living in the age of the witch hunt? Are we taking gang signs right now? Gang sides? Is the country polarized right now, bro? The anti-hokey and the hokey pokies and what they choose to do and how they choose to represent themselves in these crazy days and times. Talk to us, bro.
Well, definitely, we're split down the middle. If you're a pokey, you feel you're insisting that everybody, be a pokey too. If you're anti-hokey, you feel then now you have all of your your chips stacked up against you, because now you can't go to certain places, you can't do certain things, and you're reduced to that second class citizenship. So you know what I mean, even those who are in the pokey realize that they can't even change their mind and go to the hokey. You feel so this whole divided stance that's being kind of forced on us is an interesting one. But what it does do is it take away from the actual agendas, you know what I mean? And those things are what we're going to be covering in tonight's story. And like you said, we have a lot to cover. What we're going to do is we're going to present the information and then let you, as the knowledge-filled viewer, make your informed decision.
Yes, sir. That's what we're gonna do. We are gonna let you guys decide, but we want to give you guys a little background. So of course, everybody knows the coronavirus comes across. It kills about 500,000 people worldwide in the onset. Right now, the numbers are a lot bigger, and we'll show you what those are in a little while once we play this video for you. But there was something that was going on that was pretty unique. And it was kind of one thing that a lot of people asked for forever and a day. And it was that the police actually were protecting and serving. And they got rewarded for it. Let me pull up this joint right here. And because they were actually aiding people instead of, banging people over the head with their authority, every night at 7:00, am I right, Stin, in New York?
Yes, sir.
They got congratulated for it. And here are one of the commercials that celebrated that. Check it out right here on the Real XC Show. Yeah, man. Say that name 10 times real fast. I did. Yeah, man. So I'm gonna throw up this little slide right here because we had way too much information to cover, and I couldn't put it in clips and video messaging and all of that. So I decided to just put it in a little collage. And I'm not in New York City. I'm in the Rock. I'm up in the Rock, which is upstate New York. But my man Sin was in the city. And Sin, can you kind of allude to some of the things that we're seeing here and give a little background, give a little context to how all of this this whole saga began. Go ahead.
Oh, no doubt. Well, first and foremost, we have the thank you to all of the frontliners. At 7 o'clock here in New York, and actually all around the world. When the 7 o'clock time hit, people would be clapping their hands and banging pots and giving thanks and tribute to our frontline workers who were out there with no vaccine, in the beginnings of this whole COVID crisis. And that was our way as a city, as a people, to show them an appreciation. We were calling them heroes at the time. But then shortly after that, you feel there was the vaccine that was introduced.
Yes,
Special
sir.
report: New York City mayor forces citizens to vaccinate or pay. Now, these were actual headlines of the time where, the vaccine had made it out. It was experimental at the time. They were forcing the essential workers, and the elderly and those who were deemed, most susceptible, to be the first ones to get that, that experimental jab. You know, then
And
we
it had
have
there were a lot of side effects,
there
and
were
you had to go for more than one in
Yep,
order for the
there were
efficacy.
deaths.
In order for
There
the
were
efficacy to
tremendous
be,
amounts of side effects.
yeah,
There was the actual handling of the vaccine because it had to be delivered and administered in sub-zero conditions. So it was one of those things. And shortly after that, that's when the cops launched massive protests against the vaccine mandates
yeah.
here in New York City.
De Blasio made a mandate that
Yes,
cops and
sir.
firefighters and EMT workers get the vaccine, even though there were so many people having problems with it. Thousands of people worldwide were having complications and hospital related events over taking the 3 or 4 different types of vaccines and the sketchy efficacy of it all. Continue, bro.
Yeah, definitely. And during the time it was all going down, people were asking the question, why isn't it the governor, who does have the authority to kind of like issue these mandates? Why wasn't he kind of issuing the mandates? But the mandates were coming from the mayor himself, you feel, in which by law, or technically isn't even mandated to, or he's not able to issue these mandates. But
Shh, you're giving away too much, man.
oh, I'm sorry, I'm just
We'll get
telling you
started.
what was going on in the New York City at the time, you feel?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well,
and
talk to him
now
about some of the
and now
talk
our
to,
most recent thing is
talk to
now
him
the
about
city
some of
workers.
them. Right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the city workers who do not comply and get this jab or this vaccine and are not fully vaccinated, they will not get paid.
Now, that's a campaign not only in New York, but if you look at the bottom of that ad, it says New York City and California.
Mm-hmm.
You know, joined, I guess, advertising and promotional forces to put that out there. You know what I mean? And the question remains: is this legal? Continue, bro.
Mm-hmm. Most def. All right. Yeah, so the mandates that are being issued here, like literally, it's we have the firemen who got I believe it was like a 9-day deadline where they had to be fully vaccinated within that 9-day deadline. You have the police officers here in New York and the corrections officers who have up until December 1st,
Wow.
to comply. So
Wow.
either comply or, don't get paid, which is kind of like insane, but that's for later on in the sun. In
Yeah,
our,
maybe there may be consequences to their job and their livelihoods for this as well. Not just the fact that they can't be on the clock, but the fact that they may be they may be excused from their jobs over this as well. And then once again, the big question is this legal? So then we move on to this slide here, where because the efficacy of said things are not on the up and up, said things like Johnson & Johnson vaccine, said things like the Moderna hokey, right? Hokey pokey. Said things like the Pfizer hokey pokey. And then you got to go back. And now they're talking about people need a booster.
Mm-hmm.
So what were you doing in the beginning, bro? In New Jersey, they were giving you a shot and a beer. Come on down here, bro. Get your shot and get you a shot. So a shot
Free beer.
Free beer. Dun, 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 dun. So that's Jersey, but you know, people, great migration. You get it. And then the Chipotle. You know what I mean? Get a Chipotle BOGO entree with your vaccination card. Go to Trader Joe's and Dollar General and, you know, Family Dollar.
Krispy Kreme. Can't forget the Krispy Kreme. Free donut. One original glazed donuts for your vaccination.
Yeah, man. And as you see up top, it gave you all kinds of COVID lotteries erupted all over the country. Ohio, Florida, Cali, New York, Jersey, all over the place. Everybody's throwing around dough. Then it says vaccine incentive program. Employers give $100 cash and customers get 10% off for everybody that comes in here and shows their vaccination card. And what's this on the bottom? Vax to school. So even before we even knew that whether or not these vaccines had efficacy to even be administered to children, they're enticing children to get involved. And you know how when you go and you get when you go and vote, well, they took that same spirit, that same energy, and turned it. You know, everybody goes and votes, and you get that little sticker. I voted today. Now you're getting a sticker that says what? I got my vaccination today. So we really that gullible, man? Social media kind of says so. We like bells and whistles. We like hearts. We like likes. We like thumbs ups. We're just gullible. So what they do? They went and created I got my vaccine sticker today. And they put it right on your left shoulder. And you can walk around and say, I got my vaccine. I got my vaccine. I got my
vaccine. And you don't got it. And you don't got it.
Right. You know what I mean? Back to the gang language and taking sides and being polarized. They even got the Kool-Aid man into it on the bottom. He moonlighting as the lottery dude. That's the Kool-Aid man on the bottom. Now, it's not really the Kool-Aid man, but he looks like the I call him the Kool-Aid man for all intended purposes. But they went all out to get you to take this vaccine, right? That wasn't proven to be healthy. Mad, I guess, health incidents erupt in many, many hospitals. People die, people stroke, I had somebody close to me get it, and he really got sick. And he's out of work permanently now because of it. You know what I mean? Get better, my G. You know, I wish you well. And he had a stroke because of it. So, you know, it's out of control what's going on with this thing, man. And now I want to show you, now this is going to be a really busy collage. Wow. What the bluck. There's a lot going on in this picture, man. You know what I mean? I like this one here. It says the pro-vax logic. My neighbor forced me to take her contraceptive pill. Now I'm pregnant. So that's the logic that some of the pro-vaxxers use. You know what I mean? And some of the justifications that the other side makes As you can see, you got the Simpsons on the anti-hokey side, and then you got the other cats. I don't know where they from. Claymation. Remember Davy with the
Yep.
little dog back in the hey Davy. That might be that little crew, but they at each other, man. The Hokies and the anti-Hokies. You know what I mean? And this group here on the left of the screen is inferencing that in the Hokie, they put fetus cells in the Hokie, and we'll be getting into that later. On the pro Hokie side, they say vaccine saves lives, and on the anti Hokie side, they say no forced vaccines. And then, of course, in the middle is who? Black folks. Black folks are always in the middle of these, unintended politics that we don't have nothing to do with, but we're forced to take a side. We're forced to be kind of split in half as a community based on allegiances, based on, political affiliation, based on your job, based on finances, what have you. But what's this list here up top, bro? That's kind of in the grayish capacity, man.
That's the most interesting image on this entire collage.
Yes, sir. Talk to it a little bit, man.
Well, on that little screen that you see in the middle, it is actually a list of those who are let me see. I was trying to pull it up and make mine a little bit bigger.
Okay. Take your time.
There we go. All right. It is a list of all of these people who are exempt from getting the vaccine. So
Right.
they are exempt from the mandates.
Uh-huh. Very
now,
interesting.
I'm going to read out some of the people that are exempt from the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Congress and the legislative branch, they're all exempt. Congressional staff are exempt. The judicial branch is exempt. The White House staff is exempt. CDC employees are exempt. FDA employees are exempt. The USPS, the Postal Service employees are exempt. The NIAID employees also exempt. Now here's where it gets very, very interesting. Pfizer employees are exempt. Moderna employees are exempt. And illegal aliens are on the exemption list.
What the fuck?
Indeed.
Light on the cheese and heavy on the doodle.
Yeah, man, that was my man Bernie and Trey Mack, man. They had something to say over that, man. So this looks crazy to me. This looks like the entire government, plus some private agencies and some private companies, are all
plus the manufacturers of the actual vaccines.
Exactly, they're all exempt from taking or being liable for the mandate. And we just wanted to show you this, man. And on the bottom, you have black people stuck in the middle, fighting, kind of tussling, kind of having an external struggle, as you can see, and in fact, an internal struggle. And that's why we're here today, right, Sam? We're here to kind of bring a little clarity to that internal struggle that most of us black folks is having, most of us melanated folks is having with this issue of hokey or anti-hokey. You know what I mean? So we're gonna move on to our next portion of this. And so you see all the stress and strife, you see all the fighting, you see all the picketing, you see all the rioting, and then of course de Blasio and major mayors and governors all over the country are banning, banning people from, or actually creating the mandate, sorry, that is allowing this hysteria to take place. And I want to recall a really interesting Forbes article. Remember that Forbes article I showed you? And it talks about how the governments are the gubernatorial governments and mayoral governments are trying to persuade. It was in Forbes. It was a couple months ago, and it was talking about how they're trying to force mandates for workers to, take the hokey, or they're going to deduct your paycheck $50 every pay period. So it went from this, hey, get a donut, get a BOGO entree, hey, get a beer, get a shot with a shot. You know what I mean? Join the Kool-Aid man, get you a sticker. You know what I mean? To all the way to here with this chaos. And now they want to hit you where it hurts, in your pocket, bro. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Well, it's a disturbing trend that's escalating in a horrible way. You feel? So now you can see where they're essentially, I guess, trying to play God. Where, if you don't take that vax, you feel, and you don't become that GMO, you feel, then all of a sudden, the witch hunt is on. Then you're called an anti-vaxxer. Then you're called, you have all of these things in which you can't do, and it's a witch hunt in like the most modern form.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna read a byline from this Forbes article, and it says up to this point, companies have tried mostly to use positive incentives in order to encourage workers to get vaccinated, including time off from work, gift cards, even straight up cash in certain cases. But as the vaccination rate has plateaued in the United States, cases have steadily risen due to the Delta variant. Employers are considering utilizing the so-called stick rather than the carrot. You know what I mean? The Regulatory Resources Group at Mercer told Forbes, Mercer is a huge company down in Georgia. Are you familiar with them when you used to be down there? I mean, you had your little
Damn real. Yep.
Yeah, Mercer is huge. Don't they have a university down there too? Mercer University? Yep. Yeah. Huge down there. They told Forbes that the employer benefits consulting firm has received inquiries from at least 20 employers over the past few weeks who are giving consideration to adding health coverage surcharges for the unvaccinated as a way to drive up vaccination rates in their workforce. Yo, can somebody say extortion? We're gonna extort you, partner. You want your health coverage, Jack? You better get that.
Get that jab.
Get that hooky in your life. Yeah, man. Let me plug this in. Give me 1 sec. Get that hokey in your life, dude. We're plugged in. All right, great. So we're back at it, man. Tell us how you feel. Jump into the conversation, because what we're doing right now is a Power to the People news segment. And we usually cover many, many issues, but we felt this issue, hokey versus the anti-hokey, it was so important that we devote a whole show to it. You know what I mean? And it's 19 minutes after the hour. We're doing good. This is the Real HD show. It's a Hardcore Monday, Power to the People news segment, talking about the hokey versus the anti-hokey. Hit the link, man. Tell us what you think. Hit the link. Tell us what you think. And support the show. Like, share, and subscribe. Especially share. Cash App, $ the Real HD show. Yeah, man. So they want to extort these people out of their bread. They want to extort these people out of their HR benefits. You know what I'm saying, bro? What do we make of that, man? Is that where we are? Do they know that we're that transactional of a society? We're that mercenary of a society that we will take those type of things instead of our, individualistic integrity or in exchange for our liberties and our freedom, justice, and equality? You say what, bro?
Hell yeah, they know. And you said you hit the nail on the head. That's an opportunity to exploit.
Yeah,
You feel? And
sure.
that's all that they've been thinking about. Because like I said, when it first began, they've been giving all of this credence to the vaccine. Everything vaccine. If you don't have the vaccine, you have to, then you become the subject of ridicule. So now you. But whatever happened to your natural immunities?
Ah.
You feel?
Isn't that what my man GC was talking about in the clip?
Exactly. You know what I mean? He was talking about how he swam in the Hudson of all places. You feel?
Shout out to River Park Towers that was right off the Hudson River. I used to live there for a couple years, and I swam in the Hudson River, but I played right near it on them little rocks down there. Shout out to cousin David. Shout out to cousin Cha-Cha. Shout out to cousin Princess Valerie Rachel. Y'all know love. Shout out to Yancey and all his brothers. We know how we used to get down. Shout out to Tim. Shout out to the whole River Park Towers crew. Stay out that Hudson River, though. We used to go to Roberto Clemente State Park, right? I lived in Building 40. We used to go downstairs. We used to play in a little sand joint, jumping monkey ball to monkey ball, you know what I mean? And then you go downstairs and the river would be like right there. And they'd have like these bars and all the signs, don't go on the river. But if you walk further down enough into the train track area where the Amtrak is, you can find that little hole, and you get in there and you walk past that little field and you right on top of the GW Bridge.
Yep.
And you on that slope that goes right down into the Hudson. I'm telling about it. Mama, don't beat me.
Well, nowadays people need to kind of go down there to build up their immunes, you feel? Because, they done got too soft, Think about all these people rubbing their hands down with all of this the anti this and anti the alcohol wipes and Clorox wipes and Lysol pads and you feel? But once again,
it is too late for your doo-doo fingers. You have to learn that as a little boy. Wash your hands. Too late for the doo-doo fingers.
5-second rule.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Miss Huddle and Miss Kemp, man. That would tell us wash the perineal area.
And Miss Barber, yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, shout out to DWC.
Health Careers Climate Program.
Yeah, that's home base. That's home base right there. That's how we get down. We got to remember. We got to take it back and remember the good stuff. But back to what we were talking about. We are going to switch gears. It is 8:23, and you are rocking with the best. You're rocking with the Real HD Show, and you are tuned into Power to the People News. You know what I mean? Where we bring you the latest and the greatest and the things that affect our community in the most positive way and the most detrimental way. And we decided, Sin and I, we had our little production meeting, and we decided that we were going to devote this whole show to hokey versus anti-hokey, because there's things to consider on both sides, and you guys should have all the information at your disposal so you can make those super wise decisions for your life. Don't just be sheeple. What Night of the Walking Dead? Don't just be sheeple. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. I wish I still had that Rick and Morty meme from the other day. I'll pull it up. I got rid of it. Yeah, man. So right now we're gonna jump into a little musical break for right now. Right here on the Real HD Show, and we will be right back. Let's just get right to it.
As we proceed to give you what you need. Get live, mother. As we proceed to give you what you need.
We are back. Real HD show. Were you able to? Did you get that audio? Was that pretty good or no?
Oh, I got a little bit of it, and then I think it stopped.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll check up on that. But let's get back to the show. So that was Biggie Smalls. I thought there was a little irony in that. Who shot you? You know, think about it. Think about it. Think about it.
A few moments later.
You still thinking about it. Who shot you? Get it? Uh-huh. So I wanted to talk about this, man, because this is a really pivotal issue. And it's affecting a lot of people. But just like the advertisement for the show, my thought was, and follow me on this pattern, bro. I thought Marvel, that's right, Marvel Comics, Stan Lee, right? I thought Marvel kind of foreshadowed this years ago, bro. You know what I mean? Civil War. And what was Civil War? For all my millennials and Gen Z cats that don't know what the Civil War was, right? After the death of hundreds of, and I'm not talking about the movie, I'm talking about the comic book, you know what I mean? After the deaths of hundreds of innocent civilians caught between a battle of warriors, the government passed into law the Superhuman Registration Act, sparking the first ever superhero civil war. Every hero rallying behind either Iron Man, who's pro-registration, or Captain America's opposition, brothers in arms who became sworn enemies, right? And what was the conclusion? After a horrific tragedy, raises questions on whether or not the hero should register with the government. Longtime Avenger teammates Captain America and Iron Man, and on opposite sides of the argument. And then it says they split the Marvel universe in two as the Friends recruit all kinds of famous characters in one of the most celebrated fights of all time. And it became the mask versus the anti-mask. And I thought that was very interesting because you hear that coming from people today.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you go out to any store, you'll see people wearing their mask, and then you'll see your people not wearing their mask. And then now that people have got the hokey, they feel like it's cool for them not to wear their mask, but some people still will wear their mask. So it's very, very, very much reminiscent of the Marvel comic Civil War. And of course, when you get the hokey, right, when they do the hokey pokey to you, you're registered. You're in with the hospital. They report you to your local government, your local mayoral and gubernatorial government, and I'm sure there's a federal database right now cracking with all that information on who got the hokey, you know what I mean, who subjected themselves. Just like there's probably a federal database for people who got tested, got swabbed for COVID-19, you know what I mean? We don't want to get involved with that whole, I'm not going to jump down that rabbit hole on what they was doing there, you know, running up in people's cars and sticking them in their nose, but we'll leave that alone. What do you think, man? Are we living? Is art imitating life right now? Is life imitating art? Talk to me, bro. Did Marvel get it right years ago?
It seemed like they had a premonition. You know, everybody was talking about the Simpsons and how they predicting everything, but it seems like Marvel had it head on.
Yeah,
masked versus the unmasked. You feel? Yeah. Registration versus non-registration. So now, you feel, what side are you on? Are you down with Cap? Do you feel? Do you feel that people should have their civil liberties and their freedoms maintained? Or are you down with the Stark man, you feel? Who's saying, look, everybody needs the jab. I got the jab. The jab works. Get the jab. Jab, jab, jab.
Don't you know there's healthy nanos in that jab? You don't know what you're missing out on.
You feel? Yeah, there's
You know
nanos in there, of course. Oh no, there's no nanos in there. There's no nanos.
Oh, no,
It's
no,
safe.
no.
It's completely safe. It's pioneering, and it's the first time we're doing this, but we know it's safe. Oh no, we know it's safe because it's the first time that we're doing it. Get the jab,
Right.
jab.
Get the hokey pokey, and turn yourself around. You know what I mean? So turn yourself inside. Yeah. So because there are many people taking many sides, I found this really interesting post, right? And the interesting post it's actually an article, but of course it's blazing on one of the hotter social media sites right now that's out, TikTok. And on TikTok, there's this occurrence, and they're these social elitist people. Donald Trump put a battery in the back of a lot of conservative people with racist tendencies, and made them feel like they are a new crowd of emboldened dummies. And I just want to show you what their new campaign slogan is. Check this out. Read that, bro. Read that for me.
In a bizarre new trend, some anti-vaxxers are calling themselves purebloods on TikTok.
Now, if anybody knows anything about history and World War II and Germany, and who is a dude that was leading a whole bunch of people calling themselves the pure race and the great race, and right, that Hitler dude, right, and all the Third Reich and all that. But let me read the highlights to this whole pure right.
Excuse me. Sneeze.
Now, you got it, bro. A controversial new trend has emerged in which anti-vaxxers are calling themselves pure bloods on TikTok. Several videos on the app show anti-vaxxers announcing they will no longer comply with being identified as being unvaccinated. They're going to be known as pure bloods now. So now it's the LGBTQP.
PBs. LGBTQ PBs.
Right. The LGBTQ PBs. So they pure bloods, right? So the reason I saw this and I thought this was interesting because it has all kind of racial overtones, but it's steeped in the whole Harry Potter thing. The Muggles versus the elites, or whatever they call themselves. The people who were down with Slytherin and House of Slytherin when their kids went to Hogwarts because they had the money and they had the bread and they had the little nasty economic and political ties that got them in a socially advantageous position at the school. The Muggles were the mixed kids or the poor kids or whatever, and then they made their way into the magic school. What's your thought on that, man? And don't even get me started on the Scholarmance and the Illuminati. Like we gonna do a whole show on that too.
No doubt.
That's another thing. Scholarmance and Illuminati. Solomon Nari, right? Yep. We gonna build. But go ahead, bro. Your thoughts on that?
Well, definitely. That is that's gonna have to be another all show, all you feel, all knowledge one. But as for this, I like your comparison, but I'm kind of like, I'm thinking about it in another term where, when they say the true blood thing, my mind automatically went to those vampires, bro. You know how the vampires and the strongest vampires and the ones that's doing like the most wickedest things and the oldest vampires are always called they're the true bloods. You feel? Those were the vampires that was existing back in, when vampires was a thing. And it kind of seems like that's what they're trying to, link themselves to, because, it's the elite that's doing it. They're the ones, the upper end. So, when you get to those like Anne Rice movies and stuff like that, books, it's those elite that, that they're the true bloods. They go and they sire off new vampires that are below them. You feel, and then and they're doing all of these things, and but we all know, as for that pure blood thing, they were GMOs way before all of this even got started. So unless you're calling yourself like a first level GMO, you feel, ain't no true pure in that pure blood status.
Right. I mean, we don't want to jump down that rabbit hole because we could take it all the way back to, since war set third out of Kemet, bringing people out the mountains and civilizing folks. We won't go there. We won't go there right now.
Well, yeah. Then we have to build on their grafted presence. You feel,
yeah,
and that's a whole different show in itself.
We'll keep it socially nerdish for right now. we'll keep it on a social nerd, level for now, man. But I thought that was an interesting article to pull up. Another interesting article to pull up in terms of what we're talking about, which is hokey versus anti-hokey, is this one here. Now, that was a little time ago. CNN, why should people with natural immunity be forced to take the vaccine? This is CNN asking this of Fauci. And then Dr. Gupta, who's really not better than Fauci on any given day, but he made a pretty compelling point that day about natural immunities. And then there was the Israel study, which said that they tested a bunch of people in Israel, thousands, and they said that the people who didn't take the vaccine were 27 times more likely to stay healthy because they built up the natural immunity. So, thus the question from Dr. Gupta to Dr. Fauci. What do you say about these natural immunities taking place from COVID, and are they better? And my man was stumped. That was a Jeopardy moment. He couldn't go for 300, Alex. He ain't know what to say. I wasn't really prepared for this, Jack. I'm about to get back with you on that, my man. So, brother, and he exited stage left. You know what I mean? So that was that one, man. Your thoughts?
Oh, definitely. Well, one, I thought it was extremely funny when when he bowed out. Because he was like, literally, you're a doctor, supposed to be talking, and you're an expert in your field. And he's talking about, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. I don't have enough information. When he was putting were basic in studies, like if you're supposed to be a specialist in your field, you feel, how is it that they're bringing basic information that's new information to you? You might as well have just sat up there and said, well, look, my puppeteer, the person that's pulling my strings, didn't tell me to say that, so I can't say it.
My puppeteer went to the bathroom, so
you feel. So
you gotta wait for the answer.
Yeah, you feel
right.
Like essentially.
Yeah, man. So it's like, wasn't he the one that was supposed to be leading the country medically? Wasn't this the one that Trump was referring to for all his medical direction, and everything was topsy-turvy because he wasn't giving people clear directions?
Yeah, once again, because he wasn't being told the right information to say. I mean,
Yes,
it was a direct puppet thing, where he was being told what to say. And, because he was getting all of this, contradicting information, he was giving, contradiction interviews and speeches. So, you know what I mean? In one interview, I'll tell you, washing your hands is why you do it. The other one, it doesn't matter if you wash your hands. I'll tell you, oh, you need to wear a mask. Then they tell you only the mask is only like 10% effective. And then, you feel, so with all of that contradicting information, you feel it was evident that, the real doctor or Gupta, you feel, who had the information, was on the ground with the research and kind of knew what he was talking about, you feel. He went and he found out and discovered all of this information, where Fauci, on the other hand, he wasn't told that, so if you're not told that, you can't speak on it. So, you know what I mean? And even with that, when you're told it, you still don't know it. So, and this is the person that's sitting up there, and in charge of our our health situation. And this is the person, right, that's encouraging you to get that jab. So now, they're telling you that it's safe. They're telling you that all of this thing, but is it really safe? Or is it just because people being told to tell you that it is safe?
Right. Yeah, man. Great insight, my brother. Listen, I second it wholeheartedly. And you know who else seconds it? This group here. This is a website called Project Veritas, right? And there was a leak in Pfizer. Now, how do I know about Pfizer? It's because my wife used to do wellness. She used to be in charge of their wellness program at Pfizer when they were on the ground level. And that was some years ago. This is like 2001, 2002, way back when we were still living in LI, right? Long Island. Shout out Long Island. Shout out Hempstead. Shout out Uniondale. Shout out all those places. Freeport. You know what I mean? Baldwin. Shout out LI, man. All my LI folks. But according to Pfizer and their leak that they gave to Project Veritas as an interview, Pfizer scientists said your antibodies are probably better than the vaccine. And when that came out, right, that was a Ruby Roo. That was a right, that was a Scooby Doo moment. Like what? Like
no doubt.
Who shot who? Like what? So this very much confirms what Fauci and Gupta were debating. And now you have a Pfizer, a person who actually created the vaccine company, confirm this, scientists. And of course, people are going to do their level best to discredit the interview. But please go on Project Veritas, be brave or do something. Check out the COVID-19 exposed Pfizer interview. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You see, it's recent, October 4th, I believe it was, of this year, a couple days ago. So please go support them a couple weeks ago, rather. Support that article, check it out, do the knowledge to it, man, because we about to do the knowledge to something really heavy a little bit later on in the show. So stick with us. We're the Real HD Show, man. But what do you think about this Pfizer scientist article coming out confirming what Gupta was alluding to when he was debating Fauci? What's your thoughts, bro?
Well, like they say, even with the title of it, it's exposed. You feel? Right. So now you have all of these people pushing for the vaccine, pushing for the mandate. We had on News One, you have that guy coming on and telling you, I've had the vaccine, and if you need to have, I've had the COVID and I got the vaccine too. You have to get the vaccine. It seems as if they're gearing you essentially towards medicine, and they're downplaying the actual thing that has kept human beings alive and on this planet since day one, which is the immune system. You feel? So now, and it's what they're implying. You feel? The implication is that their drug, their creation, their vaccine is better than the immune system. You feel? So now, they're basically telling you, your immune system is not good enough anymore. Only our medication, only our vaccine, only our drug can keep you healthy and safe. And then to mandate it behind that, something just doesn't feel right. You feel?
Bro. Especially when they told you to stay in your house for a whole year and a half, eliminating your vitamin D intake, which directly affects your immune system.
Your immune system.
And now, hey, we got the cure for your weakened immune system, right? Mm-hmm. Wear a mask, right? You can't get fresh oxygen in and do the Krebs cycle and the ADP, the ATP, the ADP cycle, right? Your Krebs cycle is affected. All of it's affected because of everything that they have been telling you to do. But guess what? When everybody was out there protesting in 2020, where was the spike there? You get the big eyes.
Yeah, what happened when they tried to link the march and the spread of corona and the what happened? Then there were a whole lot of marches, a whole lot of people,
All
a whole
around
lot
the
of
world.
mass bearers, very low numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you flip it and you have those rallies from the 45th,
big eyes. And that's how it goes right here. We try to connect the dots on the Real HD show, man. So yeah, man, I thought that was really interesting. How all of those things can happen. And it is 8:46. We are rocking and rolling tonight, bro. You know? Let's get right into it though, you know. So once again, we have the Pfizer claim that your antibodies are probably better than these vaccines that don't have 100% efficacy. And you had to go and get 1, 2. How many shots did you need for efficacy?
it's 2 and then the booster.
And now there's a booster. Right? And now they're now they just mandated it so that they can give it to children between 5 and 11 years old. FDA approved that, level dosages of these vaccines are,
Yep,
safe.
they approved it, but they're exempt.
Right. Let's go back to that. Thanks for reminding me. Let's go. Let's go a whole back to that. You know what I mean? Moderna exempt, Pfizer exempt, and you can find this list online, man. It's just government agencies and essential companies that are exempt from getting the hokey pokey because it's going to turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about. The hokey pokey. You know what I mean? That's why we're doing today's episode. It's all dedicated to the hokey pokey, anti-hokey versus the hokey. And then, right, man, and it's some, they try to make it polarized and partisan, right? Republicans versus Dems. Dems are the vaxxer, the hokey pokies, and then Republicans are the anti-hokies. You know what I mean? So, it just depends on what side of the aisle you fall on. We just want to give you good information so you can leave here healthier, wealthier, and wiser. And if you're just tuning into the Real HD show, tell them what you do on an average Real HD show. What's your contribution, my brother? Talk to them. Let them know.
Well, my contribution for the AAT show is the AAT show. And on that show, what we do is we go beyond the old hokey and pokey vaxxer debate. You know what I mean? We go straight to the horse's mouth, where everything that I talk about and and our main subjects are those that build up your immune system, things that help to keep you healthy, regimens to keep you 100%, and we're gonna keep it like that. So instead of sitting there and debating on whether or not you should get the hoke or the poke, or what side you fall on for the hoke or the poke, the Real HD AAT report is one that's designed to keep you healthy. You feel? Doesn't matter what side you're on, doesn't matter whether you're vaccinated, doesn't matter whether you're unvaccinated. We give you that information that helps you to heal. You feel? So join us on the Real HD. Join us on Mondays and Wednesdays. Learn about those things that can help you stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, and become a member of our Real HD family. So you too can be an HD street rebel. So hit us up.
Real HD Street Rebels, man. That's the new gang. That's the new joint. Stand up for what we doing. Real HD Rebels. That's what we doing. We here. We bringing it to you. Like, share, and subscribe. We broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter Live, Mob Crush, D Live. We all over the place, man. We are multicasting with our broadcast to you, bringing you that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding on the Real HD show. Right now, it's Power to the People News. It is 8:50 after the hour, and you are rocking with the best on the Real HD Show. Anti-hokey versus the hokey pokey. What side do you fall on? Leave it in the chat, man. Let us know what you think. We really need to know, man. Or you can hit the link. There you go. I got it now. Yay. Okay, so drop it in the link, and we'll put you live on the air, man. And if your comment is fire, if your comment got a lot of cognizance and awareness within it, you will win HD crypto bucks. That's right. Real HD crypto bucks. This is probably the only show on these or any other airwaves where you can win currency with us for your participation. We need that, man. That's what the show is for, man. It's your voice, your victory right here on the Real HD Show. And I am slow. I'm like the Bugs Bunny tortoise right now. I don't have your voice, your victory joint to pull up right now. What's wrong with me? I am twipping. But we're not going to stay twipping because we got a great show for you. And we are going to move on and stay strong with what we're doing. But first, we're going to have like a little musical break on the Real HD Show. And we're going to do that starting and now. Now, this particular music clip that I'm about to play is from the 1940s. What could that be about? But they flowing. What's in the 1940s? It features four brothers who could sing their tails off, but they flowing. Wait for it right here on the Real HD Show. Check it out.
Well, it's over and over. Oh, I know. Oh, no, I'm going to ride on the winning time, but it's over and over. Oh, I know. Oh, no, I'm going to ride on the winning time. Brother Noah, my God's talking right on the winning. Said he would ride on a winning time. Hey, children, stop still and listen to me. God walked down to the brandy sea. He declared that it was the sin of man, and then he decided to destroy the land. He spoke to Noah. Noah, stop. He said, Noah, I want you to build me an ark. I want you to build it 3 cubits long. I want you to build it big and strong. I want it 50 high and 50 wide, so it will stand the wind and tide. Is oh, Noah. Oh, Noah. Oh, no, I got to go around on the winning time, but it's a oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, I got to go around on the winning time. Brother Noah, my God's talking, said he would ride on a winning time. Well, after the foundation was laid, then Noah began to hew and build. The ringing of the hammer cried judgment, the hewing of the saw cried sin and repent. 100 years he hammered and sawed, building the ark by the grace of God. When the ark was done, God's voice was heard. He said, now Noah, let me tell you what to do. Calling the animals 2 by 2, so he called them in the ark. 2 by 2, he called the birds, the ox with the kangaroo, and he called in Japheth, the ham and Sam. Then
They trapped it out at the end. You know? They trapped that joke out. My group was flowing. 1940 doo-wop group showing hip-hop skills right here on the Real HD Show. And yes, we will put the disclaimer up. Stop. Real HD Show. Freedom, music, moment. That's how we do it right here on the Real HD Show. You know what I mean? It is 8:54. You are rocking with the best, man. You are rocking with the Real HD Show. And so we have all of these interruptions, right, bro? We got civil unrest, we got protests, we got the Hokies versus the anti-Hokies. We got folks taking other people's contraceptive pills. We got all kinds of stuff going crazy. We got black people caught in the middle. This is a picture of a group at the Barclays Center, and they're protesting, needing. I guess they work there, and they're protesting the vaccine mandate. And of course, with that, we have to feel like a people divided in half. A lot of us are Democrats. Democrats want to be down with the vaxxers, the hokey pokies, and then some of us are down with the anti-vaxxers because they got that political affiliation with. And then didn't that brother that was involved with January 6th, he got the most time of any person that was tried for the January 6 attacks on the Capitol?
Yes, sir.
When our
Serving
folks
the most time, man. He was in the hotel. He didn't even reach the Capitol.
Exactly, man. Crazy stuff, man.
He wanted that attention.
Exactly. He thought that was a winning team. But once again, so you saw the clip, you saw the collage, right? And the collage showed black people caught in the middle of all of this. If you see my mouse circling it, it's caught in the middle of all of this craziness, man. Vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, the Simpsons, the Clay people. They caught in the middle of everything. You know what I mean? Why? Because we have a peculiar institution. You know what I mean? That's a little bit of the legacy. It's not the whole legacy. We got thousands and thousands of years of other legacies popping across seas, but here on this continent, it's a peculiar institution. Why? Because it terrorized and it enslaved one group of people, which we have ties to, and another group of people benefited and got the just deserves and the economics of this peculiar institution built this country. You know what I'm saying? And Joy Behar, right? Homegirl from The View. I don't know if she ain't my homegirl, but she's somebody homegirl. She came out and said, well, I got the vaccine. White people got the vaccine. Shouldn't black people get it right now? So we on some monkey see, monkey do stuff, bro. Does Joy Behar have a point? Should black people get it and follow the leader of white people's lead?
Hell no.
And we don't even know if we getting sugar water or not. Mm-hmm. We don't know if they got sugar water shot. We don't know if they got.
Can you say placebo?
Exactly. We don't know if they got the placebo in effect. You know what I'm saying? But we supposed to follow behind these people like they lead and they're the conduit for things that are right and true for us. Your thoughts, man. Talk to me.
Definitely.
Before you say that, man, to make matters worse, you got my man Howard Stern, who's talking, fuck your freedom. That's what he said. New York Post News made news all over the country. When are we going to stop putting up with idiots in this country that just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? So we got these two yahoos trying to speak for us. Your thoughts?
Once again, I don't know about you. I don't know about the mass public. But those are two people in which I know for a fact I would not want to speak for me. You feel? Howard Stern. I don't see his background providing me with any security, and knowing that he has our best interest at hand. You feel? That other chick, I know she's on one of those talk shows and stuff like that. She's on The View or whatever. But who is she to sit up there and speak for black people? She's saying, okay, white people did it, so black people could do it too. Why? But I mean, I don't understand the logic behind that. White people did it, so tell your white people that it's safe for them to do it. Why are you sitting up there and telling black people that it's safe for them? You're not an authority for us. You know, you're not even a spokesman or anything. You have absolutely no ties to us, but yet you still feel that you can speak on our behalf or know what is best for us. In both cases, Howard Stern's too. You feel? So once and that's what gets me, because if you open your eyes and you see they're sitting up there and they're trying to appease to us as a people and say, okay, yeah, it's safe, go get it. Look, we did it. You feel? But once again, who are you? I don't care if
Right.
you got the vax. I don't care if you didn't have the vax. You know what I mean? But there's no reason for you to sit up there and speak out as if you are an authority for us. Howard Stern, you're washed up. Stick to your own people. Talk to your people. You want to get your vax? Get your vax. What does that have to do with us? Absolutely nothing. You feel? Why you feel it should be mandated? Who cares? That's your opinion. You feel? So who cares
He's
about Howard Stern? Who
he's
cares
telling
about the lady from The View? You feel? So it's like,
he,
for them to think that they have that authority, to sit up there and tell, oh yeah, it's okay for you, come on, man. To me, that says trap.
yeah, man, because he's saying F your freedoms, right? And he has no idea, he has no inkling of what our people went through for the limited liberties that we have right now, however short-lived those are, and the savage inequalities that still persist. While he could be a Jew linked into all kind of economic, money, and political ties, and he can get up on a FCC-led radio station and act a monkey fool every day with no repercussions and no consequences. You know what I mean? So he could say something like that and be a shock jock. You know what I mean? But are we? Here's the kicker. Are we that like? Are we
Gullible.
that? Are we that much pussy? Are we that pussy? Right? That we gonna take advice from this cat or let his disrespect on our personage be tolerated? That's where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? Like, who's he? You know what I mean? He don't respect his jaw at all. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I feel about it. We need to run up on dude and make him respect his jaw. That's what we need to do when he
No doubt.
kicking crap like that,
If
especially
you don't respect it, then wire it.
right, right, exactly. So I just wanted to bring those two up, but there's some other people that are in the news that are taking a stand and speaking up for their right to not be a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, but just have a choice in the matter. First is my man Ice Cube, popular actor, quits movie role over forced COVID vaccine mandate. That's the immortal look of Cube. That's how you expect Cube to look on a daily when he's not in favor of something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to see that cat on a rainy day in a dark alley. That's not somebody you want to be seeing in that situation. And he don't really care for the options he was given. So he said, instead of being a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, I'm gonna make my own lane. I'm gonna make my own decisions. And I'm gonna exit stage left. Deuces. You know what I'm saying? And then Shuri, the actress from the Black Panther, Letitia Wright, she was drugged through the mud on Twitter and social media over her stance on and her, I guess, proliferation on the set of Black Panther of talking about her right to make a decision over whether or not she should get the hokey pokey or not. Your thoughts, Sin? Should
Um,
Letitia Wright have a choice to get her get the hokey pokey, or should it be mandated? Talk to us, bro.
well, one, everyone should have the choice. You
Right.
feel? And the thing is with this, the reason why we're having this kind of like story is because it was a witch hunt. She simply stated that people should be aware of what it is that they put in their bodies. And that turned into an anti-vax label? I don't
Mm.
get it. You feel? So now if you're encouraging people to do something that is right, you feel, being aware of what you're putting into your body. You know what I mean? How did that become an anti-vax thing? But yet now, because she was telling you, she could have been talking about veganism. She could have been talking about, being a vegetarian, a pescatarian, or whatever it is. You feel? But yet, because she said that, now there's the label of, oh no, you're an anti-vaxxer. What do you mean? So now all of a sudden the witch hunt is on. You feel? So now what does it take to actually, not want to, become, genetically altered, become a guinea pig in an essential experiment? You feel? Because you don't want to be experimented on, then all of a sudden you're the one that, is being terrorized and, hunted and witch hunted against. You feel? So it's just that brings back, and for us as a people, like, they sit up there and they raise the question why, why we don't want to, take the vax or take the jab, and why we're so distrusting. The real question should be, why should we? What have they done to make us trust that these things are going to actually work? Us as a people, they've done absolutely nothing. They've done nothing for us as a people. But we can talk about all of the negative things that they have done, all of the tests that's been done, all of the procedures and even the laws, and the way that they practice medicine, even till this day.
So let's go through a couple of them, bro, real quick. 1896, M. Hoffman wrote a book that became a worldwide Bible for eugenics called Race Traits and Tendencies, and established himself as the foremost practitioner in scientific racism. He worked for an insurance company and wrote many research papers that basically became the standard in anti-insurance for Black people. And his analysis was that he wanted Black people to die off because we did not have, or we won't get the medical treatment that we need because we do not have the insurance. So many companies all over the country, even though we had Wilmington, North Carolina in 1890, who was a rocking $1 million community headed by Black people, 6 or 7 member Black people in Congress, representatives, look it up, real shit. We still weren't good enough to insure. And the reason that was, his rationale was, if we don't insure them, they will die off medically in a generation or 2 or 3. So that's M. Hoffman, man. Look him up. Really good piece of read. Will inform you very well. In 1835, Harriet Martineau found that Black people's graves were raided in Baltimore for weird medical experimentation. Interesting, right? Then Georgia physician Thomas Hamilton conducted a series of brutal experiments on slaves to test remedies for heat stroke. And we all heard of this clown here, Dr. Marion Sims. Some call him the father of modern gynecology. Used many women, Black women, and did vasectomies on them, and did over 30
without any anesthetic,
just straight gutting women to come up with the science or the medical practice, what is now gynecology. And then the anthropologist Gladys Fry writes, in the 1920s, there was a term called the night doctor, which applies to students of medicine who supposedly stole cadavers to learn about the body process, from stolen bodies, living and dead, to physicians for medical research. Black people of Williamsburg, Sumter counties lived in a lot of fear because there was a rumor that a night doctor would come and get you. Colored women, black women were so worked up over this phantom rumor, right? Like the KKK rumor that they were going to come and terrorize you, that they didn't even want to go out in the daytime because they were just snatching people off the street for medical experimentation. 1882, there was another one, grave robbing in Philadelphia. Dr. Francis Mazzell described the fears and prejudices of black people in the South as he tried to be a doctor who would treat, he was a black doctor and he wanted to treat exclusively black patients, but they would not let him do it. And then they turned the hospital that he started into the famous Tuskegee Hospital, where they experimented on black people in the 1940s up into the 1970s. You know what I mean? And there's many, many, many more sickle cell anemia programs in the 1970s. I mean, AIDS and who was supposedly in 1990, thousands of black church members who responded to AIDS, which was a form of genocide. They all, black Americans thought AIDS virus had been created in the laboratory in order to affect black people. So in other words, we had our full neurotices on because of our history of medical terrorism in this country. Another one would be 1968 and how it took a federal mandate for Lyndon Johnson to white hospitals in order for them to even start seeing black patients in emergency
rooms. Yep.
Yeah. And so when we say that we have a peculiar institution and a terroristic history with the medical field in this country, that is not an exaggeration. It's not just, oh, I don't want to go see a doctor and I don't want to get, medicine and I don't want to feel better because I don't like what Dr. Brower is going to do or whatever. Those things travel. And through the Great Migration up into the cities in the 1940s, all of those neuroticisms traveled with us. And then there was a code. There was a way that you conducted yourself. There was a way that you acted. There was a way that you went about your business. And you didn't always go to the doctor in the prescribed way. You went there for certain things. And then in the 80s, there was a survey where they said 80% of black people that were surveyed said that when they went to the doctor wouldn't give them a proper diagnosis. And if they prescribed medicine, they would not even give them the instructions on how to use the medicine or when it would be effective or the terms and conditions of the medicine. This is real stuff. Tom Brokaw broke that out on the 19 some time ago. So, bro, you got anything to add to that? There's a list. I got a list. I wish I could share my screen. I got about 25 things written on my list about the horrific medical practices done on black people in this peculiar institution that we live in right now. Go ahead, bro.
Well, definitely, as of like right now, we have the mortality rate of the black women and black children, being born. So now, it's a tragic event for both the mother and the child just to be born, because they're more likely, you feel, to not receive that proper care, that proper attention, or the proper diagnoses or whatever, the proper treatment at these hospitals just because they are black. You still have doctors till this day, you feel, that don't prescribe pain medications, with the guise of saying, oh, well, they're black, so they don't feel as much pain. You feel? So, and these are doctors that are practicing, in modern day, and the information that they got and the things that they are taught are come from a foundation of, tests and probes and stuff like that. And the whole industry that was against us, an industry that doesn't even view us as a whole real person, you feel? So now, now in these modern times with these practices that are still going on till this day, you feel the real question is not why we are questioning, the vaccine and its status, or, and their programs. It's why should we? You feel, because still till this day, nothing has been done beneficial for us. But there has been tons and tons, is lists upon list of all of the negative things that have been done against us. So you have to weigh your own scale. You feel? So if you feel that this might be the chance out of the millions and millions, that this might be the thing that does help, and that is beneficial. You feel? Actually, the definition behind that is insanity, because you're doing the same thing, expecting a different response. But if you feel that way, continue. There's nothing that I can do to help you. But
one more jewel, man. Myth about deliberate infection is not limited to the Black community. In April 1997, anchor Tom Brokaw on the nightly news announced that men have been infected by the government in prisons with Hyoidol.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yep.
So if you were imprisoned in any time during the hippie movement or the civil rights movement or the Black Power movement, and you were a leader,
supposed to make you docile,
right? You were infected by Hyoidol, and that was broken in 1997 by Tom Brokaw on the nightly news. So we can't just sit here and say that Black people don't have a reason to mistrust the medical community in this country. There's too many instances where that goes on. Last word, bro, on this one, and then we're gonna switch.
For this particular topic, everybody, I know people are sitting up there and saying that we're kind of being, I guess, a little hard on the system, but this is a challenge that I'll issue to you. If you think that we are being hard on this particular subject, I reach out to you and I ask you to please hit us up on our link, and you tell me what beneficial thing our medicinal society, our doctors and stuff like that, have done for Black people. You feel? Positive thing done for Black people in our times. You feel? Now we've gave the list of the negative things that have been done against us, and the list goes on and on and on, from in the past to things that are being practiced till this day. But my challenge is to you, right? Show me the other side of the coin. Show me where the benefits have been done for us, specifically as a people.
One more nugget. In the right after the turn of the Civil War, 1869, Natchez, Mississippi, the Devil's Punch Bowl. There were about 20,000 people that were set free, and they're roaming in Natchez, Mississippi. And Union, pay attention, the Union soldiers didn't know what to do with these people. They didn't have enough rations to feed them. They didn't have enough medical care to feed all, to administer to the Black people. What'd they do? Gunned them down and buried them in Natchez, Mississippi. Look it up. Devil's Punch Bowl. The reason why that's interesting, check out the video on YouTube about the Devil's Punch Bowl. The reason why that's interesting is nothing grows in that area to this day. Nothing grows. It's just wild tumbleweeds and
peach trees. And peach trees.
Yeah. Like I mean, like significant.
Yeah. Nothing else but that.
Right. Nothing grows in that area. It's totally like a mausoleum to the event that took place there. Devil's Punch Bowl. So, and of course that Union Army had to have doctors in it. I don't think regiments of Union soldiers came that far down south and didn't have doctors that were soldiers along with them to administer care to them and administer care to who were considered refugees at the time of a war, right? But we can't feed them. We can't administer medicine to them. We'll shoot them dead and bury them. And that way we can get on back up to the north and eat some apple pie with our wife. And,
it's amazing how freedom wasn't even an option.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Very, very interesting, man. So that's the peculiar institution, man, that we talking about on a Real HD show and how it applies medically. And we could go on, on. Like
should have a part 2.
1863, the draft riots in New York City. What did they do? They raided black hospitals and killed black babies, killed newborns in black hospitals and tortured them. Because the white people didn't like the fact that the government drafted them to go to war and didn't draft black people that at the time were labeled property. So when it was time to fight, black people were 5/5 of a man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be 5/5 of a man when it's time to go to war. But they didn't like being drafted because black people was called property and they weren't. And they had every citizen right to fight for the country and got their tails drafted and set New York City on fire and killed hundreds of black people up and down Manhattan. Check it out. If you don't believe me, check it out. Jump back on the show at another time and bring that smoke. We need it. We take smoke from people, trolls, white folk. We take it from all folk, kangaroos, jackrabbits. We take it from everybody. Bring the smoke when we need it. We need that because where there's smoke, there's fire, and fire is a cleansing and a change. And that's what we do right here on the Real HD show. That's word on this, bro. You got it.
No doubt. So once again, do your homework, know your history. Don't be like these fools, Howard Stern and this chick from The View or whatever, speaking about things that you absolutely have no reason to speak on. You feel? Do your homework. There are decisions to be made. Whether you're on the hokey side or whether you're on the pokey side, you feel you're encouraged to do your homework.
Yeah, man. There's one more nugget, man. I know you said, dang, man, we supposed to move on to the next joint. One more nugget, man. Most black people in this country, 80% of black people in this country are on Medicaid, some sort of government-sponsored medical program that gives them the insurance to go into a doctor's office, be seen, and have medical care administered to you. But what you don't know is 97% of the people that are seen by doctors die of terminal illnesses faster than those who are insured by private insurance. Why is that? So you have a government insured medical program that's supposed to make you better, and these people get paid to administer medical care to folks who have savage inequalities and can't afford medical care in the normal means, but they're dying 97% faster than those who have private insurance. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, this is why people need to do their homework. You feel?
So we have the right to choose if we want the hokey or not. Based on all that, and we ain't even look, bro. We scratching surface on that one. We scratching. That don't come off, by the way. That don't come off. That's you know what I'm saying. Not like my man, the congressman, the councilman out of Virginia that dressed up like Randy Watson for Halloween. Go watch our last show, Pop Up for the Smoke, and you'll see how goofy that councilman was in Virginia, who dressed up like Randy Watson from That's My Mama on Coming to America. But yeah, man. Wanted to drop that. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, no doubt. Well, it was a good one because, like you said, it don't wipe off. And history is one of those things where if you don't learn it, and you don't learn from it, you're doomed to repeat it. So this is nothing new. This whole COVID situation, this whole mandate situation, this whole vaccine situation, it's nothing new. But one thing during the whole situation is stay knowledgeable. Don't be sheeple. You're a person, be a people. Don't be a sheep.
Yes, sir. Fire nugget, we're gonna throw that up. Oh, you are on 2000 like Goku and Vegeta. You on 2000 right now, bro. Your trading level, your power level is mad high right now. So we gonna move on, man. Yo, we celebrate our people. We love our people. And not many people want to give credence to our struggle and our plight and the things that we go through, but we will do it here on the Real HD Show on a segment called Power to the People News. That's what we do. Hit the link, hit the Cash App. We take 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s. We like the kind that jingle, but we rather have the kind that folds. You know what I'm saying? That's the Cash App, $ Real HD Show. We appreciate whatever you can give us, even if you got a link to some hot like funding, some grants that we could get to in an express way. Hit us up, man. Let us know. You know, drop it in the chat, drop it in the like, share, subscribe, and follow. Hard us up on any of the social media sites that we're on. We are the Real HD Show. And to celebrate how endearing our plight is and how people should respect it, I'm gonna go back to an oldie but goodie. And if anybody in the sound of my voice could tell me who did this, rest in peace to this brother. If anybody could tell me who recorded this song and the movie is from, you will win 20 HD bucks. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we get down on the Real HD Show. All right, so we're gonna jump right into it. This is a freedom music song, but we're not gonna jump into the moniker right now because you've seen it before. We're just gonna jump into the song. Check it out.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm black. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blickety black, 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 y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, because I'm black.
I had to play it, bro. I had to play it. Hit us up in the chat, man. Hit us up in the chat if you know the Goofy that we just played, man. Respect my Goofy, man. Respect it. Put some spec on it. Put some spec on my Goofy right now. You know what I'm saying? Real HD Show. Hit us up in the chat if you know where that came from, what old school situation, piece of entertainment that came from. Me and Sin always digging in the crates, man. We always trying to come up with new, clever, innovative ways to edutain you folks on the Real HD Show. Power to the People News, man. Do you know?
Did we get any of the correct answers for our first?
All right, let me look in the chat. Let me look. Not right now. We'll come back to it. Keep going, y'all. Keep adding on. Keep staying strong. Keep rocking with the best. The Real HD Show. Power to the People News. Put it in the link. Even if you see the link and you want to jump in and tell us what you think, there it is right there for you down there. Tell us where that piece of art came from. That is immortal. I remember me and Sin was in school clowning on that. That was a moment. That was
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, because I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blickety black to black, black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black to black, black, y'all, because I'm black, y'all.
That was hilarious, bro. He just busted out with it too, bro. They just busted out with it. It was hilarious. You didn't even see it coming. You was
oh my God. Loved it.
Rest in peace to the brother who did that. You know what I mean? He left us suddenly. That's a clue. He left us suddenly. Real dope talent, real dope brother. I'll give you another talent. Chris Rock starred in the movie as well. So I ain't giving you no more hints. You gotta earn it yourself.
Yeah, no doubt. You gotta earn them HD bucks.
Yeah, man. Moving.
Digging that mental crate.
Moving on. So, tell me who did that. God rest his soul. Okay, now that's another one. Win Real HD bucks. So you got two challenges. And then who had the Bliggity Black song? You got it, man. Put it in the chat. Let us know. Win Real HD bucks for your gig economy job or service that you want to, kind of advertise
Advertise to the show.
promote to the people. If you want your record played on the show, you're an amateur indie artist. You want your record played, we got you. You want to advertise some fashions, put a little vignette together, make it cute, a little pretty. Shout out to Akila El Bay. She got some real dope fashions. Go see her on North Street in Rochester. She'll hook you up. You know what I mean? Salute to the Moors in that area, to the Moorish families that live over in that area. Real dope people, real good people. Yeah, man. So that's what we're doing right now on the Real HD show, man. Let us know. Drop it in the chat, or you could just plug it up and link up. Here we go. Okay. So it is 30 after the hour on 9 o'clock on a Monday night. We doing a hardcore. I know we having fun. We put a little levity in this, man, because we can't be super serious, man. I got too many daggone gray hairs. I can't afford no more. So, you know what I'm saying? I gotta, you know, that Beijing is working, but gotta put that Beijing to work, you know. So I'm not as brave as sin. I gotta get it all right. So let's go into the heart of what we're talking about. Are you ready for the They Live exposition, my G? You ready to tell them more about that? As it pertains to the hokey and the anti-hokey situation.
I really thought that, you know, well, for one, They Live is a movie from 1984. And it had Rowdy Piper and was it Keith David, right? And in this movie, there was a secret kind of force that had kind of taken over, and they were using the power of illusion, you feel, to subjugate mankind. And in the story, Rowdy Piper, you know, he obtained these glasses that enabled him to see the truth, right? And the truth of the matter was that, you know, these advertisements were subliminal. You know, they had all of these different things like submit, obey, you know, don't go against, you know, authorities, and, you know, and all of these other kind of vibes. And you know, during the course of the movie, Rowdy Piper, which is the main character, is trying to get other people, you mean, to put on these glasses or to see the truth of the matter. You feel he meets up with Keith David, and they literally have a knockdown, beat him up, kind of like brawl. You feel until, you know, Keith David is actually, you know, puts on the glasses and sees the truth. You know, he sees the people for what they are. He sees the advertisements for their subliminal messages. You know, so now there's a whole underground revolution of people, you feel, that are getting out there, and they're trying to spread the glasses. You know, they're trying to put, you know, people on and show them the truth and stuff like that. And I thought that this particular story, or this particular telling of the movie, was very reminiscent of the things that are actually happening now till this day. Now, you know, the truth of the matter, you know what I mean, would be one's knowledge, you know, the things that you know, the knowledge that you acquire about your situations. In this particular one, the illusion was this whole, you know, COVID, this whole COVID thing with the vax and the anti-vax, where, you know, it's telling you, oh, you have to choose a side, you have to do this, you have to do that, you know. You have the vaxxers telling you that, you know, you have to do it, you know, you have to be one of us. And you have the, you know, the anti-vaxxers saying, you know, oh no, you know, the knowledge is the truth, you have to learn about these things and all. But, you know, the end result in the movie, right? The main character, unfortunately, Rowdy Piper, dies. Keith David, black man, you know, of course, you know, black man in a horror movie, almost made it to the end, almost, but died in the very the scene that preceded the very last scene. But, you know, and the great achievement of Rowdy Piper before he died was that he stopped a transmitter that was projecting the illusion. So now people were able to see the advertisement and the aliens or the beings for what they were.
Something like
And
this.
yeah.
Ooh.
All right. Yeah, even worse.
This is a new movie out right now.
Yep.
Called Free Guy. Check that out. And he put the glasses on, just like Roddy Piper did in They Live.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a take on the same theme of the movie and the theme of the social circumstance that he was in. And they're playing off of each other. What, some 30 years later?
Yep.
What do you say? 30 years later? They're making another movie under the same thematic, social cultural circumstances. You know what I mean? Like, if he took off the glasses, that's an old lady with roses in her hand. But he puts on the glasses, and this dude is committing mass murder in broad daylight, like it's all good. You know what I mean? Which is another play on the Matrix, which is, red pill, blue pill, be fully aware or be in a constant state of denial and a constant state of a fantasy world where you shroud it from the truth. But it's interesting how many different ways Hollywood chooses to expose this paradigm of how information and societal constructs are being hid from you in plain daylight.
Plain sight.
You know what I like to do? I walk with my sons up and down Manhattan, or let's say if I go back to Hofstra, my old college, and I'll do like a talk or something or whatever we do. And I like to look at the architecture. And you see the masons, you see the stone mason blocks up in the architecture, and you see all the little Masonic symbols popping all out at you. And I show them to my sons all the time. I'll be like, look, you walking around and you seeing everything right in front of your eyes, and it's telling you, all you got to do is look. It's giving you the foundation of this country. It's giving you the covert groups that run it, and they put their symbols on Front Street, and they're telling you to pay attention. And if you're not paying attention, well, then you just fodder. You just roadkill if you're not paying attention. So that's what we do on the Real HD Show, man. We try to help you guys be cognizant and pay attention to the signs that are right in front of you, man. Are we ready for the reveal? We showed you Free Guy and They Live for a reason. For a reason, right? Because this is the coup de grace of our show today. This is the highlight of what we want to show you guys and bring forth to you guys. And it's a little bit of video that we want to talk about in terms of hokey and anti-hokey. And this is going to dabble into a little bit of nerdland, but you got to stay with us. You know what I mean? Because this information is important. So first, we're going to show you a scientist out of the Philadelphia, not a scientist, but a doctor, a chief doctor at that. And he's been given a lot of COVID-19 PSAs and a lot of, science splaining, a lot of medical splaining about, what is and what isn't. And don't you listen to them people. They don't mean you no good. I'm going to tell you what it is. But he's got some good advice for people, and he wants to lead people in the right direction. But then right after that, you're going to hear some really interesting news. And I ain't going to say no more about that, right? Should we hit him with the should we hit him with the microscope piece first, or should we hit him with the GMO piece first, man?
Hit him with the GMOs.
Hit him with the GMOs. Can human beings be GMOs, genetically modified organisms? And I know Sin has a lot saying that, bro. Sin, GMO time, 1 minute on the clock, go.
GMO time. Okay. Here we go. Now, this is a big debate. We all know that there are nanoparticles and RNA resequencers within these vaccines, right? With all of this genetic manipulation, you feel that is being done. within the vaccine, there's been a question that has been raised with this genetic modification from your vaccine. Does this make you a GMO? Are you now a genetically modified organism? And if this is the case, right, the people who issued out your vaccine, the Moderna, the Pfizer, both of which are exempt from the vaccine. But if they were to, let's say, lay claim to their genetic manipulations, you feel, a lot of people might say, oh, well, that's not done. But Monsanto currently, the owner of the world's most, largest seed bank or whatever, pretty much they own patents on seeds. So anything pollinated by, a bee from their crops or whatever, their aired product becomes a GMO. So now, if you are a GMO and your vaccine producer now decides to claim his property, how do you fight that?
Well, let's take a look at a video clip, man, that speaks to that very thing. So you're going to see one clip that's going to be medical splaining the whole thing. And then you're going to see another clip that brings your attention to something totally different. Stay with it. Stay with us, y'all. Real HD Show. Nerd time. Here we go.
I'd say both are messenger RNA vaccines. Can that messenger RNA, after it's taken up into the cell, alter our DNA?
So here's how it works. The messenger RNA is encased in a small lipid droplet, a so-called lipid nanoparticle, a fatty nanoparticle, that then is taken up by the cell, and that lipid droplet is then stripped away. The messenger RNA is then translated to a protein in the cytoplasm of the cell. Now, DNA is not in the cytoplasm of the cell, it's in the nucleus of the cell. So in order for the mRNA, the messenger RNA, to get into the nucleus, first it has to cross the nuclear membrane, which means it requires a nuclear access signal, kind of like a lock and a key, or a key and a lock, and it doesn't have that. Therefore, it actually can't ever get into the nucleus. But even if it could get into the nucleus, it's RNA. It's not DNA. It's a different language. So it needs to be then reverse transcribed to DNA. In order to do that, it requires the enzyme reverse transcriptase, which it doesn't have. So it can't really get into the DNA, into the nucleus where the DNA resides. And messenger RNA doesn't really have the enzyme that allows it to be reverse transcribed to DNA. Even if it were reverse transcribed to DNA, which it's not because it can't be, it would still need to integrate into the DNA with an enzyme called integrase, which it also doesn't have. So for all three reasons, the fact that the mRNA can't enter the nucleus, the fact that the mRNA isn't DNA and would need to be translated or reverse transcribed back to DNA, and because it can't be integrated into DNA, it is not possible for messenger RNA to alter DNA. The chance of that
Okay, so we heard that there's three reasons why he wants to debunk the chief physician at the genetics hospital, children's genetics in Philly. He debunked it. He debunked GMOs because they can't get into the nucleus of a cell. And he told you three different ways why that's not possible. But he omitted something. Lying by omission
is a lie nonetheless.
Exactly. Very, very clever. Because this cat here is, I believe his name is Bernal, something to that effect. And he did it. He is one of the lead chief engineers at Moderna. Yeah, you heard it right. The people who created the vax hokey pokey, right? That everybody's using right now. And this is a joint. This is a lecture from back in 2013. So your man had to go back, dig in the crates, pull this up, and he talks about how Moderna have made some really interesting breakthroughs. Check out the breakthrough right here on the Real HD Show.
We ask ourselves, what if? And we worked tremendously hard for 2 years, and I'm happy to report that we found a way. We have a way to work through those two barriers, and what we do now, we make mRNA drugs. So how do we do that? Well, we make mRNA in a reactor, in a factory. We put it in a syringe, and then we inject it into animals.
Remember, mRNA is the very thing that they're injecting into you that's going to go into your ribosomes, build a protein, and that protein is supposed to give your cells instructions on how to protect it from COVID-19. Let's continue.
Patients down the road, so you can think in your belly fat or in your thigh. You inject the mRNA, and what happens then? Inside the cell, the little guys in gray, the ribosomes, they read the mRNA we just injected. Like they read all day long your mRNA, trillions of times a day. They read your mRNA. And so what they do here is they read the mRNA we just injected, and they make the protein we tell your body to make. And the beauty, and this is a piece that we did not expect initially, is we can do two things with this technology. Just injected.
I don't think y'all heard that.
Yep.
Homeboy said, we inject it into you, and it does what we tell it
to do. What we program it to do.
What we tell the mRNA to do, what we design it to do, it goes into your body and does. And this is 2013 speech. That was way before any COVID thing was popping off. And then he said the scientists that worked on this had the breakthrough in 2009.
Yep.
And therefore, they had a whole decade before any peekaboo of COVID was even on the surface to perfect this thing. Let's continue.
And they make the protein we tell your body to make. And the beauty, and this is a piece that we did not expect initially, is we can do two things with this technology. Two unbelievable things. The first one is we can make secreted protein, tell your body to make. And the beauty, and this is a piece that we did.
Look at homegirl in the front row. And the second, she out like a light.
No doubt.
Oh, she gone. she in La La Land. She sheeple right now. I know we talk about some serious stuff, man. I just had to point that out. All right, we back.
Not expect initially is we can do two things with this technology. Two unbelievable things. The first one is we can make secreted protein. Again, think insulin, think growth hormone. This has been done by the biotech industry, but again, there's not a lot of products that have been made. You have in your body around 4,000 secreted proteins. We tell the cell how to secrete the protein inside the blood to go at the right place in your body. So we just mimic what your body does when you're not sick. But the big bingo is on the right. Oops, sorry. The big bingo is on the right, where we inject the mRNA, the little guys, the ribosome, they make the protein, but we are able to tell the cell, do not excrete, do not secrete outside of yourself the protein, leave it inside. So it's trapped inside the cell. Inject it, and it makes the protein, and the protein stays trapped inside the cell. Where it has, on every one of your hearts, we have stem cell.
So this cat just said, they create proteins designed to alter cellular respiration in your body.
Yep. And program it to either retain or secrete any protein that it is programmed to do.
It's on remote control. They design it, they tell it what to do. Time release formula, it pops off. You do not release or do any sort of cellular respiration in your cells.
If this were considered sci-fi, or like one of those platforms like a Matrix, that would indeed be programmable matter. Think about that.
Let's go back to it.
Until the day we die. All your life, you have stem cells sleeping on your heart tissue. And what Ken taught me is that there is one protein in the body called VGF-A that if you send that protein to the stem cell, it's going to tell the stem cell, go back to work, make more heart. Okay? And so what Ken has done 4 years ago, he tried to make a drug with recombinant protein, the technology that the biotech industry has used, where he made the protein for VEGF in an E. coli in a reactor in a factory, and they injected into the heart after a heart attack. One dose, one injection of mRNA VEGF within the 48 hours after a heart attack. One dose. Not daily, not quickly, one dose. And what this one dose do, for 48 hours, is going to make a lot of VEGF, sending a very strong signal to the stem cell on your heart, saying make heart tissue. And then it goes away. The mRNA gets degraded. After 48 hours, it's gone. But the VEGF is here, and it has instructed the stem cell to regrow your heart. One dose of VEGF mRNA after heart attack. The heart, slowly with a stem cell on your heart, regrows itself. That's the power of this technology.
Well, we're back. Real HD show. Y'all heard that. Crazy. And essentially, they got an mRNA that's going to replace your nucleus. Since it can't get in the nucleus, it's going to be a nucleus on its own. I'm going to tell your cells what to do. Forget the nucleus. Forget that joker. I'm going to tell your cells what to do. I'm going to tell your cells the proteins to do. I'm going to tell your cells the proteins to create. I'm going to give your cells the instructions in a 48-hour time span on what to reproduce or not reproduce. What polypeptide keys to unlock within your cell. Talk to us, bro.
Well, definitely. I think that it exposes a lot because, if you can program the material, in which, like you said, you could do that in the cytoplasm part of the cells. You can make it so that the cells retain their own proteins, and don't secrete any proteins to kind of teach the body, But the thing is, the real question kind of comes back to what is the true meaning or what is the true purpose of the programming of the material. You feel if it was actually produced in order to, build up that immunity against the COVID virus, you feel, then the program should be doing as such. You know what it is that the virus itself needs. You know what it is that breaks down the virus, you feel, within the human body and within the immune systems. So, if you're targeting all of this material and all of this programmed matter, you feel, to go and negate the activation of COVID cells, then why is it that so many people are still dying after being fully vaccinated? Why is it so many variants of this one disease that are popping up, and many of them coming from those who have been vaccinated? So it's these questions that that are being posed that you don't hear in mass media, that aren't being exposed. If it was programmed to do a specific thing and it's not doing that specific thing, then can you truly say that it's safe? Or can you truly say that that is what it was designed to be doing? You feel maybe there is something else that it was designed to do, and they're injecting you under the guise of COVID vaccine. I think it's real interesting and things that should be looked into, as opposed to just simply making it a mandate, and forgetting about all of the science, forgetting about all of the rights and and the things that are taking place.
Yeah, man. So I hear you 1,000%. I want to show you guys a clip before we run out of time. And this clip is of a vaccine vials for Johnson & Johnson and Moderna. and what they found in the vaccine vials
Under a microscope.
Under the microscope, that this Moderna chief doctor just talked about right here on the Real HD Show.
And as time went on, over 2 hours, colors appeared, which I've never seen anything like this. You know, as the edge of the cover slide goes, so the cover slip, microscope to look at it, and it was only, nothing was added to this solution, nothing was diluted, no human tissue was added, only the white light for the microscope, and of course over time it was becoming more room temperature from the refrigeration. That was it. And so at first it looked just translucent, and then as time went on, over 2 hours, colors appeared, which I've never seen anything like this. There wasn't a chemical reaction happening. It was a brilliant like blue and royal purple and a yellow and sometimes green. And so these colors appearing, I did not know what that was. After investigating more, a superconducting material can do that with white light being emitted to it. Okay, a superconducting material would be something like an injectable computing system. Anyhow, these fibers were appearing more and more. Some of the fibers had a little cube structure on it. I'm not sure what that was. And also metallic fragments were in there. They were not metallic fragments I'm used to seeing, more exotic. They're very opaque, as well as, you know, as the edge of the cover slide goes, so the cover slip, when you put a glass partition on that or a piece on top of the glass slide, there are edges. And so all the particulates, all these colors started to move to the edge, and there was self-assembling going on. Things were growing. You know, they looked synthetic. And then there was one particular, I'd say, object or organism, I'm not sure what to call it, that had tentacles coming from it. And it was able to lift itself up off of the cover, I'm sorry, off of the glass slide.
It was alive? Like the thing was alive?
It appeared to, yeah, it appeared to be self-aware or be able to grow or move in space. I mean, all I can tell you is this is not something they taught us in medical school, nothing in my laboratories, nothing that I've seen before. And I showed this to other people in the field and they don't know what it is either. And I thought, when I first saw this, and I kept looking at it over and over again, I had a colleague with me, and we both thought, wow, this almost appears like it's self-aware, like it knows we're watching it. It's just an intuition, a feeling of mine, but it was very upsetting.
All right, we're gonna stop it there because she's gonna get into her feels. And we don't want to get into the fifis. We want to make sure that we keep it. We're gonna make sure that we keep it, you know, scientific, objectional, nerd-like, and evidence based. So we showed you the cat who was talking from the Philadelphia Genetics Center. Then we showed you the cat that was in Moderna that actually over 10 years ago developed this I won't call it nanotech, but this biotech that took over a decade to perfect and refine into something usable. And now this Dr. Carrie Majed, you can go and look this up on your own. She's on all kind of YouTube clips. She just does some core DNA under a microscope and finds out that in a certain frequency of light, these jokers is growing organisms. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? So And this is the stuff that's being injected into you. Now, I'm not telling you to be for or against the hokey pokey.
Just telling you
be smart about the way you go about handling yourself. Bro, it's 10 o'clock. We are on the hour. We have got to sign off in a quick moment. Last word on the vax or the anti-vax, hokey or no hokey. It's on you.
Well, definitely. It was extremely interesting when I had watched that thing, you know, and she was describing the different colors that were, you know, being emitted after being catalytically, you know, charged by the white light. And it almost blew my mind when she talked about the actual, you know, entity or whatever it is that she saw moving. Because to me, you know, as she was talking about it, you know, and she used the nano particular references, it kind of seemed like, you know, those were the things, or those are the vessels or the vectors that are used in nanotechnology. You know, what she described that, you know, had lifted the glass, you know, and tried to get off of the slide. Those are the assemblers. You know, so those are the things that actually assemble, you know, those are the things that are programmed to construct the, you know, whatever it is that they were designed to construct. And then, you know, when she showed when she was showing all of the different colors of the things that were kind of popping up under the microscope, you know, as a reaction of the light themselves, you know, those are simply the vectors that the, you know, the programmable matter uses to communicate, you know, and to get its instruction. So it's it's amazing how, you know, all of these things are being, you know, implored and put into these vaccines, and the average person who's, you know, doesn't have a knowledge or an understanding of all of these genetics and you know, these nanotechnologies and all of these other different procedures, you know, they're willingly, you know, just saying, okay, well, look, put this thing in my arm. You know, I have no idea what it does. You know, I have no understanding of how it's going to rewrite my DNA, you know, but just,
or my
you know,
cellular structure.
you feel, but just stick it in my arm because you're telling me that it's safe, you know. So it amazes me, you know, but once again, these are the same people that, you know, they can't live without a cell phone, but then have no understanding of how the cell phone works. If you ask them to fix the cell phone, they can't. You know, ask them how it actually works, can't tell you that, but you'll know that they can't live without that cell phone. So now, who's smart, the phone or the person depending on the phone?
Right.
Same thing with the vaccine. So, you know, who's healthy? The person that's taking all of these drugs, you feel, and all of these unknown substances, or somebody that's relying on something that's actually gotten us through many a pandemic before, which is your own immune system. You be
Word
the
up.
judge.
Yeah, man. So that's what we do, man. We're not telling you to get the hokey or anti-hokey or the pokey. We telling you to judge the information, be objective, and make your own decision. You know what I mean? We in the ice cube lane. Don't force me to make no decisions. I'm my own person. I got my own liberty. I'm gonna make my own mind up, and I'm gonna act accordingly to my freedom, justice, and equality. And if you are melanated and you consider the history of medical atrocities that have befallen us in our journey, you got to be smart on how you move with that stuff. So we present the information to you. You make the decision right here on the Real HD Show. It's your voice, your victory. We got to sign off. As usual, tune in, like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on all platforms that we operate on. We love you. Jump in, leave us a comment after the show is over. And as always, take this information and walk with peace and power.
Live in power.
You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned for Wednesday. Wild Out Wednesday. More great information, more music, more comedy, more show, more show, more show, more show. Opinion pull up on Wednesday. Stay tuned. Real
You
HD
ready?
Show. Peace, y'all. We out.
Peace.